Hey, everybody. This could be a historic day, and we're going to try to break it all down. And we'll talk about exactly what's going on with Bitcoin. We'll talk about meetings. We'll talk about targets. We'll talk about probabilities. We'll talk about visions, tokenization of the world, odds of things happening. Look at some on-chain metrics and a whole bunch of ETF stuff, and everything is on the move. Sell walls are on the move. Retail is back. It's crazy. What a time to be alive. And 2025 is looking pretty good so far. But I do want to caveat with this. We just bounced through $106,000. One of the things that has me a little bit concerned is when everybody thinks the same thing is going to happen, sometimes it doesn't. And then it results in crushing disappointment. But the question is, will there be disappointment? I don't know. We're going to find out right now looking at data. A ton of data. So let's get into it. Thank you, TND Tesla and American Beijing. And, well, we have Asia is awake. That's crazy. And everybody else, Angle Blackson, K8, Sean Donnelly, if you're there, Andy, Dude Travels, everybody, let's get into it. Big one today. Exciting one. And this story is called Ripping. And shout out to everybody on Patreon as well. That helps make all of this possible every day. You support the channel. You produce the movies. Thank you so much. From Gonzalo Zek. I finally joined your Patreon a few days ago, and I wish I'd done it sooner. Thank you so much for being part. Better late than never, as I always say. Let's get into some Bitcoin news before we get into the most amazing charts. I promise you, some good stuff coming. Strong day so far. This is already out of date. We are live as we speak. 106,000 flat on the nose. So that was off by $315. And that's how fast things move right now. Also, this is from Senator Lummis, now the chair of digital assets. She is now picked to chair the Senate Banking Subcommittee on Crypto, which is huge. And she wants to urgently pass legislation for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And yes, we know she's been working on this for quite a while, since early last year. And it hasn't been approved. But now, when you look at the tea leaves of what's going down, something funky is going down. And everything that was promised has happened so far. This is a quick note as well. Bitcoin is going mainstream. Senator Lummis is making moves, and she wants Congress to back a legal framework for crypto that includes a Bitcoin reserve to bolster the US dollar and get the US out of debt. And she's calling digital assets the future and doubling down on keeping the USA at the top of the pile. Remember, this is game theory. If you have half a brain, you know all about first mover advantage. If you don't, sorry, nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. And like her Twitter wall is on fire today. Big things are coming. Yes, they are. And stay tuned for 10 a.m. And that's when the announcement happened. Also, there's other crazy stuff happening as we speak. This is from Walter Bloomberg on Twitter, not the real one. This is Delta One. Trump is to hold a call with the president of El Salvador at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I am on the West Coast, so that is, let me see, 2.5 hours from now. Okay. And Trump will sign the executive order at 2:30 p.m. Sign the executive order before talking to Nayib Bukele. I was hoping it would be the other way around, but that's actually more of a positive, because if you read between the lines, it means the decision's already been made. If it's going to happen. People were expecting it day one, didn't happen. Day two, didn't happen. It's now day 3. And in the meantime, everybody are just waiting. But if you look at the price action right now, the volume, the movements, the ETF flows, the things that are being said at the WF in Davos, where I learned to snowboard, God, 36 years ago. Crazy how time flies. Anyhow, this also popped in. This is CZ. Says the strategic Bitcoin reserve is confirmed. Pretty much confirmed. Confirmed from Vivek. We'll see. So everybody, again, is thinking this is a done deal, which, again, gives me pause, as I warned about. But again, we can't all be wrong. Then we have this guy, the Finkster. Also wants all assets to be tokenized. He's pushing the SEC to approve the tokenization of bonds and stocks. Remember, Bitcoin, crypto are going mainstream. We now have over 70% of all revenue happening on one blockchain. Bonkers. We'll talk about that hopefully in the next day or two. Got a lot of stuff to do in the meantime. But what Larry Fink, I call him the Finkster, wants, he gets. It's that simple. The government works for him. They have nearly $12 trillion in assets under management, including an extremely large bag of Bitcoin. We'll talk about that in a second too. Also, they bought a big bag yesterday, 3,300 Bitcoin. Only 450 are being mined every day, and most of the miners are hodling. Good luck trying to fill those bags in the near future. It's going to become very difficult. I made a supply crunch theory, wild theory, that could happen. And you can see from data I'm looking at in charts right now that Michael Saylor is ATMing like hell. He is on a mission to bag as much as he can as well. He knows what's coming. I could see it in his smile for months now. He knows what's coming. First mover advantage, game theory. Learn those two terms very carefully because that's the key to making money. Get in early, yada, yada. You know what I say. And remember Larry as well. He said just yesterday, we're going to $700,000. Boom. $700,000. It's just over 106 now. It's still good, but not like buying at 15 or 16, which is kind of bonkers. And that was only 2 years ago and change. How time changes everything and how it's good just to sometimes sit on your hands as well in this market. Hope everybody's enjoying the show so far. Hit a like if you can. I never asked for that, but this message is important to get out to people who may not be on the train. Wait till you see the charts. Also, this is crazy. And again, ties into crypto and Bitcoin and everything else. Bank of America said 2 days ago, they want to get into crypto payments hard. Now, Morgan Stanley wants to do the exact same thing. The bank is working with regulators to offer Bitcoin and crypto transactions. Again, all these huge institutions, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Blackrock, Fidelity, once that happens, that's it. And we are in position. The rest of the world is following. Again, it's happening. It's happening very fast. 2025 is going to be a completely landmark year for Bitcoin and crypto. And 2024 was, and 2025 is shaping up to be even better. Bonkers time to be alive. And this is also crazy. The latest Treasury company called Fathom, which I honestly, in full disclosure, never heard of before. They have also adopted a Bitcoin strategy. Again, the dominoes slowly first, then very suddenly. And now we're seeing that suddenly happen. I can't even keep track of the Treasury companies because one is landing or two are landing every single day like clockwork. Now let's get into the fun time, the charts. First of all, I do have one scary chart. This is the black charts, as I call it. Bad charts. And prepare yourselves and be careful, everybody. You know, you can get wrecked with leverage in many different ways. You can get wrecked on perps. You can get wrecked with too much leverage, selling puts or whatever in bad assets. But you can also get wrecked with too much debt when you cannot control what's happening. And this is an alarming chart, which ties into why we buy hard assets. But credit card debt is up $51 billion over the last 12 months to a record $1.1 trillion in the US alone. And the interest rate is also at a record 22% interest. Folks are screwed. If you have debt, people just can't, they don't have cash, they stick it on the credit card. And then they get sucked into this trap of 22% interest. If you are living off a credit card and you're paying 22% interest, you can never escape the matrix. So get out as quickly as you can. Start saving, cut your burn, and stick it into hard assets like Bitcoin, and then you'll be fine. It's that simple. But don't be screwed by these banks that want to destroy you with interest rates. And remember, that's why they want to be part of payments. If they can be part of payments, they can charge you 22% and have you over a barrel for the rest of your life. Don't let that happen. That's financial advice right there, okay? Let's get into the good charts on that little dark, solemn note. But sometimes I got to throw a bucket of water on the people here to make sure everything stays okay in people's lives. First one, strategic Bitcoin reserve odds jumped to 68%. Big spike. We are right there, almost on the cusp of 70%. Kalshi has 66%, which is 2/3 chance. So again, as CZ said, Where is he? Where's my CZ? It's pretty much confirmed. So again, Kalshi is saying it too. Polymarket's saying it as well. Once we get above 80%, it is a done deal. That's pretty much it. Also, you can see signs in the tea leaves. This is from James Van Straten. There was $500 million of Bitcoin open interest added in hours. $500 million just added. Somebody somewhere knows something is up. There's always a leak. There's always knowledge out there. And that shows you the options bettors are betting on a big price increase in Bitcoin. Now, if it couldn't get any better, let's look at some odds, because at the end of the day, everything in investing is balancing risk and reward and calculating probabilities and expected values. That's the number one thing. If you can do that well, you will be just fine. Let's check this out. This is from Econometrics, and he had this beautiful little chart. And basically, the crux of it, I'll summarize real quick in case it's hard to see. The red line is basically Bitcoin price. The red area, shaded area, is Bitcoin price between 114 and 150,000. The little piece of red to the right of that, he believes there's a 2% chance of Bitcoin being above $150,000 in 30 days. Remember, risk happens fast. 2% chance of 150K, that's pretty high. And that also means that the whole red section means that there's a 56% chance of us being over $114,000 over the next 30 days. The question is, audience, do you have patience to wait 30 days to hit 114K? Up from 105.5 right now as we speak. And the base probability, 39%, is we'll range between 94 and 114K over the next month. And the bear case, 7%, we will hit 94 or below. 7%, they is good odds. And we've seen tremendous support, I forgot to share it, of how we have very strong support, not only now at $91,000, but also at $100,000, which is crazy. We saw that last night. We saw the market makers, check out my post on Patreon last night, nailed it to within a penny of where they would hunt. And it's in the internet, so it's forever. And that is what the market makers do. They push the price down to $101,200 on the nose, which was predicted from the charts that you could see how the market makers play the game and they destroy leverage long. So be careful with leverage out there if you are playing. But there's more charts. First of all, Model 15, the ETFs are on fire. 4 billion year to date. But I'm going to break that down in further detail in a second. But before I get to the ETF detail, retail demand is coming back. Now, I must admit, I thought once Bitcoin goes above $100,000, retail investors would stop buying. Not that they weren't buying very much anyway. As it turns out, they're actually buying more above 100,000. So they're coming in, which sometimes bodes bad for the market because it means we're getting toppy when retail arrive. But this is super interesting here. You can see the demand for retail investors at $100,000 is strong. And the shrimp and the crab cohort, this shrimp or the between 0 and 1 Bitcoin, and the crab or 1 to 10 Bitcoin, they absorbed 1.9 times the newly mined Bitcoin supply over the last 30 days. They snagged 26,000 Bitcoin. Okay, retail are in at last. I thought they weren't going to come, but now they're here. So well done, retail. And the price of 100K plus didn't turn them off. They're not YOLOing into 0.0003 cent meme coins. They're now buying the real stuff, which is good. Very good to see. Also, another cool piece of on-chain from Bitcoin Munger. The sell walls for Bitcoin have jumped from 106, 108K straight up to $120,000. This is confluent with this chart here of how the open interest just added $500 million of call option bets. Boom, it's happening. People expect this 120,000 to potentially happen. And this is also confluent with this. We could hit north, 56% chance of us going north of $114,000 over the next 30 days. You see how the tapestry is building? All the stuff, all the data that I look at every single day is all pointing to a very bullish future. Again, the data could be wrong, but normally it's not. That's why it's all I look at. And another crazy news too, getting back to the ETFs. This here Again, from Nick. After just 365 days, the Bitcoin ETF sucked in 540,000 Bitcoin in a year. Okay? That, for me, is equivalent to 3.6% of the total Bitcoin supply, assuming we never have more than 15 million Bitcoin because so much is lost. It's probably like 14 million, but to be conservative, I'll sandbag it at 15 million. Again, these ETFs sucked in nearly 4% in a year, and they're just ramping up. I'll show you the chart that shows that as well in a minute. But this substantial demand has helped not only, and I know people hate the ETFs. Oh, I hate Wall Street. I hate Blackrock. Well, these puppies drove the Bitcoin price up by 127% over the last year. And that is a resounding success. Yes, people don't like the fact that Wall Street and BlackRock and Fidelity are buying up all the Bitcoin and MicroStrategy is buying up all the Bitcoin. But if they weren't here, Bitcoin price would be about $42,000. That's the math behind that. So if you like the price at 106,000, then you should be happy for the ETFs and happy for Michael Saylor. It's just math. Let's get into the ETFs. 5 crazy days. $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin purchased in 5 days, much of it by the red fellow. Grayscale had the biggest day ever 2 days ago, and Fidelity is also coming back very strong indeed. Another view of the world, 34,000 Bitcoin were purchased in the last 5 days. 34,000 Bitcoin in 5 days. Okay. There's 190,000 Bitcoin left on OTC desks. All right. So divided by that, by 6 times 5, 30 days. The OTC supply could be gone if it continues at this rate and if the miners aren't selling, which many of them are not. This is a crazy setup. Of course, it's going to take longer for the 30 days for the OTC desks to get drained, but the possibility is there. And that goes back to my supply crunch theory. 2025 could be the year that we see that. And then we see Omega candles galore. Also, this is the money curve that I have here. We'll focus on the pink purpley line. You can see here, yesterday we had another very strong, big money day, but it was slightly above the pink line. Notice how the pink line is encroaching in on, I got to blow this up to make sure I can see my numbers correctly. Hold on a second. We are averaging right now $400 million a day in inflow. Okay. Some days 1.1 billion. As you can see, 2 days ago, we had the second biggest day ever. The biggest day ever was $1.114 billion. And the third biggest day is 1.045. Fourth biggest day, 1.005. But the average flow into these puppies is now 400 million a day. 400 million a day. Divide that by 100,000. These guys are sucking. For the kids at home, how many Bitcoin is that a day? Assuming the price is 100,000, I'll make it easy. And the average buy from the ETFs is 400 million. Divide that by 100,000. You get the crazy math. Crazy. And if it couldn't get better, this. USA to become the world capital of crypto and AI was just announced live, literally 20 minutes ago at the WEF. The new president of the United States said America will be the world capital of AI and crypto. That's it. You don't get up there and pound your fist on the table and say stuff like that unless you have extremely high conviction that's what you want to happen. Okay? Now, also this. 12 states are racing towards a strategic Bitcoin reserve. 12. It was 11 a few days ago. Now it's 12. And as usual, I always try and find patterns and things. And I was like, these states, how come the ones on the left and the right aren't really looking at it? Well, I decided to overlay this chart, this map, with this. And you can see most of the states, nearly all of them that are building a strategic Bitcoin reserve are red states. So is there a correlation between how people vote and if they like Bitcoin? Obviously, it seems like there is, based on simple color matching, which I'm not very good at. That is the story today. Could it be a historic day? I don't know. Wait for that time frame. Remember, let me refresh you on the time, refresh your mind, make sure I don't screw it up, because there is the agenda today, which is so important for us all to watch. Trump to sign executive order 2:30 p.m. Okay, that is exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes from now. We'll see what happens. Follow me on Patreon, and I'll keep you updated live as to what goes down. And if you just like Bitcoin only content, the link for my Bitcoin only and proxy playlist, which includes things like MicroStrategy and miners and stuff like that, is there. Also, miner video coming tomorrow. Those who still hold miner bags, that'll come. Hope you like the content. Thank you as well to the mods in the chat. And for all those people that are keeping the faith, have a good night, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good morning. If you're in Australia and New Zealand, have a good Friday. See you later.